Welcome to the podcast, Let the Prophets Speak. Today we continue our study of the book of Judges with chapter 15. We read last time in 14 of the last of the episode in the life of Shimshon, of Samson, where he seemed to turn away from his holy task of being the savior of the people of Israel, and instead he decided to go and marry a Philistine girl. He marries her, and then she betrays him to during the episode of the riddle. And when she betrays him, he leaves angrily, and he takes his vengeance against the Philistines, and leaves his wife. Now that his wife then goes and marries one of the friends to whom she betrayed her husband. So there's a period of time passes where Shimshon eventually decides that he misses her and he wants to go back, and that's where we pick up. Vayihi miyamim. It was many days later. Usually this means a year or two. B'mei ktsir chitim, during the harvest season of wheat. Vayifkod Shimshon es ishto b'di'izim. And Shimshon remembered his wife by bringing her a gift of a goat, a baby goat. Vayomer, and he said, Avo el ishti hachadra. Let me come to see my wife who is in her room. In other words, he basically presents himself at the entrance to her family's home. Velonus ano avia lavo. But her father did not allow him to come into the house. So basically, Shimshon, after he's trying again, he said, all right, well, that one didn't work out well for me and her very well at all. And he ended up killing a whole bunch of Philistines, which obviously did not go over very well with his Philistine wife's family. So they're not interested in rekindling this relationship. They already gave her away to someone else. Vayomer Avia, and her father said, Amor Amarti, I said to myself, Kisano Sinesa, that you have hated her, you have rejected her, and which is why you haven't come back. The father had a good, so I gave her already to one of your friends, and those friends were the 30 young men, that Philistine men that joined for the wedding party. Hello, Achosa. Haketana tova mimena. She has a younger sister who's even prettier than she is. Tihi na lilchat tachtea. Why didn't you go ahead and marry her? Now, Vayomer lehem Shimshon. Shimshon said to them, Nikesi hapam mi Philistine, ki oseh ani imam ra'a. Now I have no it's a little difficult to translate these words exactly. So the way this is stated, Nikesi hapami Philistine, now the Philistine have no claim against me, is the best way to translate that. I am clean. They have nothing on me. I don't owe them a thing anymore. Ki osani mamro. When I do something bad to them, forget it. They have no claim against me. They took my wife away from me. That now I can take out my revenge against the Philistines. So Vayelach Shimshon. So Shimshon, in his anger, we get this. At one hand, we talk about how the Spirit of God was upon him, and he does these very angry, impetuous acts, which seem to be quite impulsive, and which the next one he's about to do certainly seems that way. Vayilkot shlosh meot shualim. He captured 300 foxes. Vayikach lapidim, and he took torches. Vayifen zonov el zonov, and he tied the he turned the foxes, tail facing tail. Vayasim lapid echad ben shnei haznavos batavech, and he put a torch between each of the tails. Vayaver eish belapidim, and he lit these torches on fire. Vayishalach bikamot Philistine, and he sent the foxes into he let them run in the haystacks, the stacks of the dried fresh grain of the Philistines. Vayaver migadish viad kama viad kerem zoyis, and it set fire to all of the grain and even to their vineyards. So basically, they had just had their harvest, and these foxes with torches tied to their tails ran amok and burnt down the whole, all of their newly harvested grain. Vayomru Plishtim mi asazos. And the Plishtim, of course, when they saw this disaster, started saying, who is the one that's responsible for this? Vayomru Shimshon, and Shimshon said, Chasan hatimni, I am the son-in-law of that guy from Timnah, the guy who took my wife away. Ki lakach et ishto, because he is the one, because Shimshon was angry that he had taken his wife away. Vayetano lemireu. And I'm sorry, I translated this wrong. Vayomer, and the people said, not Shimshon said, the people said, Shimshon, Samson, the son-in-law of the Timni, he's the one who did this because that guy from Timnah took his wife away, Vayetna lemereu, and gave her to one of his friends. Vaya'alu Philistine, vayisrafu osa v'yasavia ba'esh. And the Philistines then and burnt the young girl and the father in fire. This was their way of taking revenge against him, because he had, this is their sense of justice, that since he caused Shimshon to get angry, they decided that they should kill him and the wife. Vayomer lem Shimshon, and Shimshon said to them, Im ta'asun kazot, if this is the way you take revenge, this is how you act, this is your sense of justice. Shimshon saw these people, at first he had taken revenge against them by burning the grain. So if this is what you do, you kill them, ki im nikamti bachem v'achar echtal, then I am going to take revenge against you, and then I will be able to rest. In other words, I'm going to be upset and angry until I take revenge against you. Vayachosam shok al yarech makah gedola, and then he smacked them up, struck them, a tremendous striking. In other words, he beat them up. Shok al yarech literally means a thigh against the hip. Vayered vayeshev b'seif sela etam, and then he went down and he stayed in the cave, which was in the rock of Etam, in some rocky mountain in Etam. This really, it's a strange and unusual episode, and trying to understand the symbolism here and what all this means and why Shimshon acted this way. But we certainly see someone who is is being presented in such a way that he's not really in full control of his anger, to put it mildly, and is acting very impulsively, getting himself into lots of trouble. Vayalu Plishtim, so the Plishtim came up, Vayachanu b'Yehuda, and they camped in Judah, Vayinatshu ba'Lechi, and they spread themselves out in the place called Lechi, which is in the land of Yehuda, of Judah. Vayomer ish Yehuda, and the people of Yehuda, of Judah, said, Lamali Samalenu, why are you Plishtim here now? Vayomer, and they said, Le'asor et Shimshon alinu, we have come up here to the plain, to the area of Judah, because we want to capture Shimshon, la'asot lo, to do to him, kasher asalanu, the same way he did to us. Vayerdu shloshes alafim mishmi Yehuda el seif sela etam, so 3,000 of the people of Judah went to the cave which was in the rock of Etam, which was where Shimshon was hiding. Vayomru le Shimshon, and they said to him, apparently they knew where he was hiding, Halo yadata ki moshlim banu Plishtim, you know that the Plishtim are our overlords, and you're causing them trouble, you're making us trouble. You know, we are subservient to them. What have you done to us? Vayomer lam, he says to them, kasher asuli kein asisitlam, that's what they did to me, this is what I do to them. First, they take my wife away, and then they burn her and her father, and if that's how they act to me, that's how I act to them. It sounds like a child, the way he answers his questions, without thinking about the consequences of what it is that he had done. Vayomru lo, and they said to him, Le'esorcha yaradnu, we have come to capture you. L'sitcha biyad Pelishtim, to hand you over to the Pelishtim. Vayomer lem Shimshon, Shimshon said to him, Hishavu uli, swear to me, pentifkun biatem, that you will not harm me. Because Shimshon was apparently afraid that they were going to harm him. And presumably it sounds like Shimshon is saying, if you don't swear to me, I'm going to beat you up too. And he has already attacked people when he was very much outnumbered, so that was a reasonable threat. Vayomer lo lemor, and they said to him, Lo, no, don't worry. Ki asor ne'asarcho unitanucha biyadam. We are going to tie you up and hand you over to the Philistines. V'hamet lo nemitacha. But to kill you, we will not kill you. Vayasruhu b'shnayim avosim chadoshim. And they tied him up with two new ropes. Vaya'alu minasela, and then they took him out of the rock from the cave where he was hiding. Huva ad Lechi. So he comes to the place of Lechi, which is the place where the Philistines had camped out in the territory of Judah. Uphilishtim heiri'u likraso, and the Philistines came screaming and shouting to capture him. Vatitzlach alav ruach Adonai, and the Spirit of God was successful with him. Vatihiyeno ha'avosim asher al ziro osav, and the ropes that were tying up his arms became kapishtim asher ba'aru ba'esh, like flax that is burned in fire. They became like nothing. They like withered away. Vayimasu esurav me'al yadav, and they melted off of his hands, the ropes. So now he vayimsa lechi chamor triya, and he came upon the jawbone of a donkey which was freshly killed. Vayishlach yado, and he put out his hand, vayikacha, and he grabbed it, vayachba elafish, and with that weapon he struck down 1,000 of the Philistines that were attacking him. Vayomer Shimshon, and Shimshon said the following little song, almost little poem: Bilechi hachamor, chamor osayim. With the word chamor is the word for donkey, but it also means like piles. So he's making a play on words here with the jaw of a chamor, of a donkey. Chamor osayim. I have piled up piles. In this case, piles of Philistine corpses. Bilechi hachamor hikesi elef ish. With the jaw of a donkey, I have struck down 1,000 men. This like superhuman power, that's just his ability to do this. And it was when he finished speaking, and he threw this jawbone from his hand, and he called this, and he called to this place, and this, for thenceforth this place was called the Rama, the high place of Lechi, where the jawbone is. Vayitzma ma'od, and he was very thirsty. Vayikra al Adonai, and he called out to God, Vayamar, and he said, Aton asata biad avdecha et hateshua hagadolah hazos. You have given through the hands of your servant this great and wondrous victory, or saving me from all of these attackers. V'ata, and now almost batzama, and now I should die of thirst. V'nofalti biado arelim, and if I die of thirst, I will end up falling into the hands of these Gentile Philistines. Vayivka Elohim et machtes asher balechi, and God cracked open the machtesh is a like a hollow area in the place of Lechi, which is the place where all this was occurring. Mimenu mayim vayetzu mimenu mayim vayesh, and water came flowing out, and he drank from the water. Vatoshav rucho, and his spirit came back to him, his strength came back to him. Vayechi, and he survived. He didn't die of thirst. Al kain kara shema. Therefore, the name of this place is called Ein Hakorei Asher Balechi, the spring of Hakorei, the spring that calls out, presumably because it gave water in response to Samson calling out, which is in Lechi Arayom until this day. And then Vayishpot es Yisrael, he was the judge over the people of Israel, b'mei plishtim, in the days of the Philistines. So this is called the days of the Philistines because the people of Israel were subserving to the Philistines, Esrim Shana, for 20 years. So now he seems, after this episode where his carelessness and destructiveness and his impulsiveness brought the people of Judah into serious danger. But then, by some miraculous strength, he was able to strike down 1,000 attackers with this unusual weapon, the jawbone of a donkey. And then we find a miraculous occurrence happening to him in response to his prayer to God. And then all of a sudden he sits as a judge, which gives you the idea of sitting as a leader of the people. There are so many things here that just are really, really strange and unusual. And if I would say, the one thing, there's a lot of explanations and a lot of people understand all of these episodes in different ways. To me, I get the sense of, and I kind of was trying to lay this out before, I get the sense of a person who truly has the capabilities and the skills and the holiness to be a great leader. That's what he should be. That's what he has the potential to be. But he's trying to avoid it for reasons which are unclear. And he keeps on going back to the Philistine woman. This impulsiveness, this anger happens when he sees that his attempt, he wanted to live a peaceful life among the Philistines with this wife, but they never allow it to happen. The people, the Philistines, don't allow it to happen. The father doesn't allow it to happen. Bottom line is, God doesn't allow it to happen. No matter how many times he attempts, so he gets all angry, and then instead of getting the peaceful life, and getting away from the leadership, he ends up killing the oppressors. He ends up being the savior that he was set out to be, and being the leader that he was. But then we're going to see again, he's going to try again to give away this leadership, to get out of that mission that God has set for him. Instead of living a holy life, he wants so badly to not have to live this holy life. And we'll see in the next chapter, we'll see the next exploit, the next unusual story of Shimshon, which will continue in this very unusual pattern. Thank you so much for studying chapter 15 together. Looking forward to studying chapter 16 and all of the book of Judges together.